Introduction: Understanding what licensees must never do. In the previous section, we explored the professional duties required under AAC R428-1101, including reasonable care, honest dealing, proper handling of commissions, and record retention. Those duties describe what real estate professionals must do to comply with Arizona law. In this section, we focus on the opposite side of professional responsibility: prohibited conduct. Understanding prohibited conduct is just as important as understanding fiduciary duties, because many disciplinary actions taken by the Arizona Department of Real Estate, ADRA, stem from violations involving misrepresentation, concealment, improper compensation, or failure to supervise. Arizona Revised Statutes, ARS, Paragraph 32, 2153, authorizes the real estate commissioner to investigate complaints and impose disciplinary action when licensees engage in conduct that harms consumers or violates professional standards. In addition, administrative rules within Title IV, Chapter 28 of the Arizona Administrative Code reinforce these statutory requirements and establish expectations for ethical conduct in brokerage operations. In a competitive real estate environment like the Phoenix metropolitan market, agents often face pressure to close deals quickly. However, rushing transactions or cutting corners can create serious legal consequences. By understanding prohibited conduct and recognizing the behaviors that trigger complaints or investigations, licensees can better protect their clients, their brokerage, and their professional licenses. A. Misrepresentation. Misrepresentation occurs when a real estate professional provides false or misleading information during a transaction. Misrepresentation can be intentional or unintentional, but both forms can create legal liability. Under ARS, Paragraph 32, 2153, the Arizona Real Estate Commissioner has the authority to discipline licensees who make substantial misrepresentations in connection with a real estate transaction. Misrepresentation may involve inaccurate statements about property features, zoning status, square footage, or other material facts that influence a buyer's decision. For example, imagine a listing agent in Chandler advertising a property as having a fully permitted guest house when the structure was actually built without proper permits. If a buyer relies on that representation when purchasing the property, the buyer may later discover that the structure cannot legally be used as a dwelling. This type of misrepresentation could result in a complaint to ADRA and potential civil litigation. Even unintentional errors can create problems if agents fail to verify information before presenting it to clients. To reduce the risk of misrepresentation, agents should rely on verifiable sources such as public records, professional inspections, and written documentation rather than assumptions or hearsay. B. Concealment of material facts. Closely related to misrepresentation is the concealment of material facts. Concealment occurs when a licensee intentionally withholds information that could influence a party's decision in a real estate transaction. Arizona courts have emphasized the importance of disclosure in real estate transactions. In the case Hill v. Jones, 1986, the Arizona Court of Appeals held that sellers and their agents must disclose known material defects that could affect the value or desirability of a property. Material facts may include structural damage, water intrusion, environmental hazards, or other issues that could impact a buyer's willingness to purchase the property. For example, a seller in Tempe may have previously repaired a significant roof leak that caused interior water damage. If the listing agent is aware of this history but fails to ensure that it is disclosed to the buyer may later claim that the defect was intentionally concealed. Concealment can expose both the seller and the agent to legal liability and disciplinary action. Real estate professionals should encourage sellers to provide complete and accurate disclosure through documents such as the Seller's Property Disclosure Statement, SPDS, and should document the delivery of those disclosures to the buyer. C. Unauthorized compensation. Another form of prohibited conduct involves unauthorized compensation. Real estate commissions and referral fees must be handled in accordance with brokerage policies and Arizona law. Under ARS Paragraph 32-2155, real estate licensees may not receive compensation for real estate services from anyone other than their employing broker. This rule ensures that all compensation flows through the brokerage and that the designated broker maintains oversight of financial transactions related to real estate activities. For example, if a buyer in Gilbert offers to pay their agent directly for helping them locate an off-market property, the agent cannot accept that payment unless it is processed through the brokerage. Accepting compensation outside of the brokerage structure would violate Arizona law and could result in disciplinary action. Unauthorized compensation can also occur when licensees provide referral fees to unlicensed individuals in exchange for business referrals. While marketing and networking are common in the real estate industry, licensees must ensure that compensation arrangements comply with licensing regulations and brokerage policies. D. Failure to supervise. Failure to supervise is another serious violation that can result in disciplinary action by the Arizona Department of Real Estate. Under AAC R4281103, designated brokers are required to establish policies and procedures for supervising the activities of licensees working under their licenses. These supervisory responsibilities include reviewing transaction files, monitoring compliance with brokerage policies, and ensuring that agents follow applicable laws and regulations. In large brokerages throughout the Phoenix metropolitan area, designated brokers may oversee hundreds of agents. Because of this scale, brokers must implement systems that allow them to monitor transactions effectively. For example, many brokerages use transaction management platforms to review contracts, disclosures, and compliance documents before closing. If a broker fails to implement adequate supervision systems and an agent repeatedly violates disclosure requirements or mishandles transaction documents, ADRI may determine that the broker failed to exercise reasonable supervision. Maintaining strong supervision policies helps ensure that agents follow proper procedures and protects the brokerage from regulatory violations. Discussion questions. Why is misrepresentation considered one of the most serious violations in real estate transactions? Answer: because buyers and sellers rely on accurate information when making major financial decisions, and false information can cause significant harm. How does the concealment of material facts differ from simple non-disclosure? Answer: concealment involves intentionally withholding important information that could affect a party's decision in the transaction. Why must all commissions and compensation flow through the brokerage rather than directly to the agent? Answer: because Arizona law requires the designated broker to supervise financial transactions related to real estate services.